What's up, everybody? Ian Walsh here, Hard Money Bankers, joined my partner Ryan Walsh from Hard Money Bankers. So there was some news. It was a red Friday, a black and blue Friday, as they call it. So I actually have up on my screen the chart. So I might as well just leave that up because that's pretty clear as to what's going on. You get that on yours, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, you're just talking about looking at the latest bar, the bar on the furthest right is what we're looking at.
Yeah, so we have been talking about this about a month ago, which was this balancing point here, which was the Evergrande, when all those positions had to rebalance off Evergrande due to the basically the all-time highs being hit again. So this is the Dow Daily, and I figure our viewership should be going up here pretty shortly with this move.
It's a direct proportion.
Yeah. So the Dow Daily has been moving, and there was this huge move off Evergrande that we were tracking for a couple months, and then supply chain hit, which is still just, I don't know, it's somewhere in the background. Supply chain, what was it? Inflation, that's still hanging around.
And Evergrande.
Now we can add to this Omnicron.
Transformers.
Yeah, exactly. So with that being the case, I said a couple of weeks ago, I said once we move that balance point, and all of a sudden all these new trend lines had to come off, which is what these reflecting lines are. All these new trend lines that come off the balancing point here are significant because this is just from screen time over the years. I've got thousands and thousands of hours of screen time on these charts. When you have like a single point that holds a lot of positions like this that kind of all fan out into like this one area, we had said a few weeks ago, it typically comes at it hard, meaning the market doesn't usually just drift on into it and like tap one of them. It usually hits it pretty hard, and it tries to clear out all the business that needs to be done. So, as we're sitting here eating your Thanksgiving turkey, you kind of wake up on Friday morning and go, what just happened? So, you have a 1,000-point drop overnight. The market hits into this area. It's a hard hit into these areas like we discussed. So I think you're looking probably at a bloody week potentially here. I don't know that they fill this gap right away either. It's a pretty huge gap, to be honest. Could be a runaway gap, but nonetheless, I think this is the move that's going to clear that out. Now, I don't know that this is the move that necessarily goes down to because if you go beyond this green line down here, 33.40, this is where you start to get into that end of time trend line. But I do think this might be the move that goes and gets it. And the craziest thing is you can go 2 months running away from it, and you could get there in like 2 days. It's crazy to just think that. So what do you think, right? What do you get going?
Yeah, I mean, other than saying it's a bunch of bullshit, I'm not going to get into that because that's the game we all play when we're in the stock market, right? Like the move was set on Friday, Black Friday, which is Red Friday. I like the term Red Friday better. While everyone's not paying attention, totally on purpose, and they just made up the reason. They were like, say Omnicron, as if the financial advisors of the world are, medical experts or something, right?
Right. And I like you call it Omnicron, right? Like there's a million different words. Why don't you just call it by like its actual science name, which is probably like blah blah 2233, right? But Omnicron is literally a villain. Like I swear there's a boardroom of people that they have like the chart behind them and they're crossing out buzzwords. They're like, nah, not enough fear. Nah, not enough, and then somebody comes up with like Omnicron, and like it's like a movie, right? It's ridiculous. Just like it's like you have to have the word to just shoot around to everybody, as opposed to, it's the flu strain of such and such and such number 1236. Like, why not call it that?
The reality is whether or not this actually becomes a bloody December. The point is they justified to public saying, "Oh no, we just made billions and billions of dollars because of Omnicron. That's why, not because it's a rigged system or anything." It's because of Omnicron, right? But like I said, I know this is how it is. I know it's all controlled. So I am choosing to play this game, so anyway.
Yeah, so there's that, and then for the deep conspiracy theorists, people were suggesting this was being done to cover up the Giselle Maxwell trial with the Epstein situation that started on Friday or today. Actually, it starts today. Are you familiar with this?
I'm not, because I've been only hearing about Omnicron.
Well, then they're doing their job. Yeah, so that trial starts, I believe it was today or whatever, which happens to coincide with the Omnicron variant that's coming out. Like some people are saying they're just trying to like cover it up because there's a lot of powerful people that are potentially implicated in this in that situation. Actually, if you I didn't realize you didn't know that, but where is that? There was just a headline, but all the headlines on my on my news feed have now switched over. It's heavy on the Omnicron, so they're gonna pour on that for a little bit, and then Goldman talking about Omnicron, and there was another one later that was Omnicron. So like we're gonna see that pouring through the headlines for a few weeks. Are you hearing anything about it in particular? That's like we already had the Delta variant, and it was just
I mean, nothing different than this one's bigger and badder than the Delta variant, right?
Right. They're like 32 strains. And it's like, what does that even mean? Like, so I don't know. One has 16 strains. Like, does a strain do anything? Does it mean anything? And I don't know. Like, no idea. And probably not. Like, it's, one of the interesting things they said about the first 4 people that were identified with Omicron were, had the jab. So, is this just a ploy? Or is everybody gonna have to get Omicron boosters? I don't know how this.
Well, I mean, when I was watching, or I checked CNBC just to see like what the masses are being fed, right? Mm-hmm. And the first thing they saw was Pfizer's pill is supposed to work against Omicron. It's like,
great. So get everybody comfortable with the pill idea. Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so let me ask you, Ian, since we are real estate lenders, whether you know that or not, how does this impact your lending? Like just see, I mean, we went from September where you and I were very vocal about top of the market here, right? Mm-hmm. And to be fair, what we've seen in terms of housing pricing, the stock market went up October, November, a little bit there, but we have both seen houses sitting on the market.
I've not seen housing follow the new, did not go all-time high on the housing front. That's a good point. Yeah.
So I'm curious, we actually haven't talked about this yet, so everybody's getting this in real time. How is this impacting you going into December right now in terms of maybe your lending?
Well, I would say no real change yet, because I kind of started hedging myself back in like September. So like I'm not really changing from my attitude from December. But there is a divergence between the actual stock market and housing now. There's like housing's not hitting all-time highs with the market, and there's still a lot of like really important things on the table, like the inflation, the bond, being purchased, or the tapering, happening and stuff like that's all going to affect the housing market. So I don't think the housing market is going to really feel this until spring. Everything lines up for, I mean, this could be a Santa rally too. It's going to go down, hit it real hard and go right back up. But I think it lines up better to your theory of the January and the whole first quarter stuff like that. So I don't really think the housing situation is going to see or smell this until, 6 months out from when it really began. And that's pretty common. The old adage is that the housing market trails the real estate market by like 6 to 12 months in terms of when it happened in the stock market and then it happens in the real estate market. So that would line up as well. So the spring market might not be quite as juicy as people, are experienced in the past, which then, flippers have to wait longer. It costs them more money. They don't make it. So everything kind of steamrolls from there into, a slowing down period. But at the same time, in the very short term, more important than anything is going to be this move right now. This move happening right now is important. Every time we have a leg down from this point forward that's attached to that, that this green line hasn't been touched, messed with, or penetrated in any way, is going to be significant. Anytime you're approaching this green line, which is the one that scared the Evergrande into everybody, this green line needs dealt with or needs looked at. If we were to come off this green line and go back to all-time highs, I would just say, okay, like the stock market is not, it's not real. It's not real, but I can tell you that if we come off that green line and go to all-time highs, it'll be 6 months, 12 months before you have to worry about anything else. But every time you get closer or start looking at it, because if you look at this screen, just as a general, thought, you go, anybody looking at this is going to go, man, we are in striking distance of a very significant point. It's on my screen. It's very clear. It's not like everybody and their mother can see that right now across the world. So, and when you get near, as we come down towards it, all those Evergrande positioned people at the balance point, that was huge money into that Evergrande position. You can actually see it now. If you actually just take like that was where the Fed just stepped in and but look, like this is all Evergrande volume right here. That's a lot of volume. So, that means there's a lot of positions in this area. So will the Fed save it again? I mean, probably, because I liked your post the other day. It said 35 to 40. I didn't know that 35 to 40% of all.
I didn't think it was real either. I was like, no way. That can't be true. I did my own fact checking, meaning what is real these days. But yeah, there
went to Reddit. Reddit said.
No, this one went to Google because I saw it on Reddit.
Oh,
but
okay.
When there's multiple sources and then they explain it, I was like, holy crap! I think it is real. I think 40% of our economy was just pumped in 2 years.
That's nuts. Yeah. So, and I'd like to say I'm sure it's not a linear, that means the economy's worth 40% less than it actually is speaking to. It's probably some sort of, because other economies are based on our economy and they have to, but a 35% or 20% drop is pretty feasible, or is way over leveraged and it's more like a 60 or 70% drop.
Exactly.
Who knows?
I mean, I always talk about delayed gratification with our line of work in real estate. Everything's 3 to 6 months to a year out of what you do today. This is like delayed ramifications, right?
Yeah.
That's what we haven't seen yet. So I don't know. Maybe we'll go all-time high, or maybe we're in a lot of trouble. So
I don't know, but I know that this week is going to be relevant too. We'll track the technical analysis front on the as we approach this line. I mean, this is our line to watch because, I mean, literally. So if this was Wednesday, I think.
Yeah.
Yes. Right? Or not?
Wednesday or Thursday?
Yeah, Wednesday, Thursday. So we just drop. I mean, if you take this size of this drop right here.
It was the worst day of the year.
Worst 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
The real time, not real time, but worst 24-hour day.
Correct.
So
it's worse than the Evergrande day.
Right. So if you take that box right there, which takes the real-time hours to where we are today, because that's what happened overnight. So this box is what happened overnight in terms of distance. And I just take that box and I move it to here. We're there in one day.
Yep.
Look where that box lines up, right on our yellow line. So we're at any given moment, we're 1 day away from seeing what the end of the world looks like. If you ever wanted to see that.
Yeah, and then on the flip side of that is it could have just been they decided to cash in big time, make a ton of money, and we'll let it ride back up. So that's why I think we're saying this week pretty important to decide whether or not that was just a cash in versus a something's going on in December here.
Yeah, the only thing I could see with the Omnicron thing is if somehow all of a sudden they're like, this strain kills people in 30 minutes. And then it's just like bodies just everywhere. That'd be enough to freak out the world. And then you'd see another plunge. But if it's just like Omnicron is spreading, everybody's getting a cold.
It's not enough. Not enough. Yeah.
It doesn't do it. Right. So I don't know, but any given moment, we're 1 day away right now from hitting that yellow line. So, and again, as I had stated earlier, that these type of infraction points that carry a lot of positions tend to be hit hard. So, I could see it could be entertaining in here, and our viewership did get up to 5. So obviously the theory of viewership is working. And I'd imagine if we have another down day, I would say if we get to that yellow line, we will have peak viewers in our stream.
So we got comments from Aaron.
Oh, good. Piggies?
No piggies yet. I'm sure he'll throw them now after he sees this. He said, market dropped after an abusive uncle situation, the great air hockey incident of 2021. So just for those who are not aware, I mean, I'm surprised this isn't on CNBC.
I mean, most people are aware of this at this point because of the most people don't know it was you. They're aware of it. They just don't know it was you.
That's true. So on Reddit, I may or may not have had the top voted comment on Black Friday of the story of how I defeated Ian's child at air hockey, and he may have cried. And then I posted about it on Reddit, and it was the top voted comment. So,
how many upvotes? How many upvotes did you get?
34,000 upvotes on that.
34,000 people. I wonder what that means. How many people actually read it? So, like, how many people didn't upvote but read it? Is it like 5 times, 10 times? It could be like a couple 100,000 people read that comic. Like, you're literally internet famous.
Yeah, and then the market crashed. So I think Aaron's got a good point here.
Oh, that's true. Aaron's onto something.
So yeah, you know what I was thinking, because I got like 50 or almost 60 awards on that. And Reddit, you got to pay $2 for those. So I think that's basically a $120 post that Reddit made off of me. I feel like
what do you get? What happens when you get the award? Does something happen? Like,
no.
You get something.
You just get it. It's like an upvote. It's like a glorified upvote.
Really?
Like somebody paid to give you that upvote.
Oh.
That's all.
But you don't actually get like a thing, like
Not that I'm aware of. Whatever it is,
wow.
I'll split it with your child when they're of age.
It's crazy though that they I mean, the internet is a funny place to think that people are just going to pay for the glorified upvote. I guess I'm laughing at that, but when you go on Twitch, like, we pay for emotes, so we're the same. We're no different. Yeah,
but that's like supporting the streamer, right? Whereas like Reddit's like just giving $2 to Reddit.
Yeah. Is there a VIG on that to Reddit?
I don't know.
Probably. It's a good business model. It works. So, all right. So the things in there where you're now, I'm not convinced on this Omnicron thing unless Omnicron, like I said, unless people start dying in like 30 minutes. I'm not convinced this Omnicron doesn't.
I haven't read anything of it. I've read it's more severe, but what that means.
Yeah, I read more variations and more severe, but I haven't. I don't know. But the very first time COVID started to begin with was like this weird like thing coming out of, like, it was kind of like, nobody really knew about it, whatever. And then all of a sudden it was a thing. So, but nonetheless, I'm not, we already went through Delta variant. So I'm not understanding why this would cause that kind of reaction unless there's something that we don't know about it right now. But
I personally think it was just a cash-in day.
Cash-in day, and maybe cover the trial day. They also announced that they're not streaming the trial. They're not live streaming it.
No.
So, yeah. I don't know, but I think coming into the end of the year, we could see. I don't know. I'm gonna say I will get a better personal view of this
this week.
Yeah, I think this week will tell a lot, and then I'll hopefully be able to gauge. The other thing is too, though, usually I think if we do go down and hit that yellow line right there, that greenish yellow line, that it's not like we're just gonna graze it and tap it. Like, it's the kind of thing where it's gonna try to scare you, right? It's not gonna just go, oh no, there's nothing there. Like, it's gonna they might go down and run a really hard move through it and then rip it back up, right? Like one that just looks like the world is ending and then rip it back up. And then you get into scenarios where, okay, and then you and I are having this show talking about kiss of death again, but on a vertical or on a horizontal plane. So whether it just comes back up and flips support and resistance, essentially. Is it going to do that? Or is it going to, there's a lot of things. I mean, it could also just go sideways, right? You could go back up to all-time highs and not go through it, and then come back down and then up, and you could be sideways for a while. There's so many things that could happen coming out of this move down, but it would be very significant no matter what happens if we go to hit that line and it doesn't basically make a perfect candle signal straight back up. Like if we don't get a perfect candle signal, like, they just go down, peak over, it's like when you're on a cliff and you just like look over the edge, you're like, holy cow, that's a steep drop. And then you like, you run backwards and you're like, thank God you're just like, I don't want anything to do with this. Like, unless it does that move where it just like peaks and runs, then, significant hit to that changes the dynamics of the stock market across the board for a while, not a short period of time. So we'll see.
Last comment from Aaron: Omnicron will be using an excuse to keep rates low. Okay, maybe
that's possible. Yeah, that's like to change the taper. That's I could see that.
And then inflation will continue to do its thing. Yeah, yes, it will. So
that's a valid, fair comment. I don't know what to do with it, Aaron. Like, gives a serious, real comment. What do you do with that information?
That we say we'll see tomorrow, because we got to see how this week plays out. I mean, right now it's trying to rally a little bit, but it's, not covering that 900 point drop. So we'll see. I think we got to see how this week goes.
Okay. See you tomorrow.
Cool. All righty. Take